Hey, we're working. I always have an initial moment of fear that I'm going to get an error message. Welcome to our next Tuesday tune-up. I think this is number 5, maybe 4. Got to do the math. Um, so I'm not sure what to talk about. Actually, that was bad. No, I don't know if it was. Hmm. Let me tell. Have you ever had this conversation? What do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't know. So I get that a lot from my kids, among other people. And I thought we would take a quick look today at indecision and why it's there and what we can do about it. Because a lot of times people want to make a change, but they're not sure they want to, or what if they do it wrong, or there's a lot of issues going on around it. So let's talk about indecision for a minute and how to be better at making decisions. So, indecision is doubt concerning 2 or more choices. And what are you going to do? Why does this happen? Why do we get stuck in, I don't know, what do you want to do, right? There's a lot of reasons. One, we have so many choices. So sometimes there's just too many choices. And it's just overwhelming to try and pick which choice you really want. The second one is we are trying to please others. So we don't want to suggest something that someone else might not like because this is especially, it's so cyclical because you're more likely to think this way if you have, hey there guys, if you have the personality that is going to agree to something you don't want to do, then you worry everyone else is going to want to do that too. So you don't make the decision because you don't want to make them have to pick something that you don't want to pick. Another thing, some of us like to analyze things to the extreme. So paralysis analysis, and that a lot of times stems from fear of making the wrong decision or feeling like you need to make 100% perfect decision. So let's look at this. What can you do if you don't know what you want to do? It's so nice to see you guys out there. Um, so the first thing you can do, especially if you've had depending on how you've grown up or what your life has been like, if you've been one of those people that have made decisions and always had people overrule you, or people disagree with you and never support your decisions, then you might have a lack of confidence when it comes to making decisions. And you can actually build this confidence back up. So one way, if it's really been devastated, you might not even really know what you want. So I don't know might be a valid response because you're so used to not being in touch with what you want because everyone always disagrees with it. So you can just practice getting in touch with what you want. So you could just sit down and go, what is my favorite color? Right? What is my favorite food? What is my favorite? And just make some of these really tiny little things, little choices that help you kind of get in touch with what you want. And the more you practice this, the more you'll build that confidence that you do know what you want, you do know what you like, and it's okay. Another way to practice this is you can practice making little decisions every day. So, do I want water or milk? You know, instead of just grabbing for one, actually realize that you're making a decision, right? So that is another way to build up confidence if you are stuck in a rut trying to decide what to do. Maybe just make some little insignificant decisions, make them every day, and then acknowledge the fact that you're making decisions. Um, so that's one way to build up your confidence. Now, if you're not making decisions because you're scared to make the wrong decisions, or you feel that you need to be 100% perfect and make the best decision ever made, remind yourself that really a decision is not going to have, most of them, some of them do have big impacts. But even if you make the perfectly right decision, you can still have a bad outcome. So you only have so much control in the decisions you make. So one way to kind of look at that or to analyze it, or not to the extreme, but you can write down your fears. Like, what if you make a not perfect decision? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? And if it's something that's kind of significant, you could be like, okay, what am I going to do if that happens? And kind of plan for it. And then you can make a decision based on the emotion of what you want because you already have a plan for how to deal with the fear. So, example, if you're looking at 2 jobs, and maybe you are in a soul-sucking job and you're looking at another job that looks like it might be a better fit, but you make less money. So go ahead and write down, what would that mean to you? So you make this much less money a month. How is that going to impact your finances? Could you absorb that? Could you deal with it? And if you could, then that fear kind of goes away as part of the decision making process, and you can just make it solely based on what you want to do and not so much what is the right thing to do. Another thing to do is do the 10-year test. So 10 years from now, is this going to really matter what decision I made today? It might not. It might. But that's another indicator that, maybe it's a decision you need to actually go ahead and make, because not making a decision is making a decision. And if something has the opportunity to impact you 10 years down the road, in a potentially positive way, but involves some short, like maybe less money up front, then, that could be an indicator that you need to make that decision, even though it could be a pay cut. Another thing, if these are insignificant decisions, like should I go for a bike ride or not? Should I go run instead? Should I, have Chinese food or whatever? Just set a time limit. So you can set a time limit and just make a decision and go. You can also limit your choices, if it's too many choices, to just 2 or 3. So instead of what's for dinner, do I feel like Chinese food or a pizza, right? Or do I want to go out or stay in? Make little choices and eliminate some of that, some of your options. Another thing you can do is reflect on a decision that has turned out well, because you probably made a couple decisions that have turned out okay. You can also reflect on ones that turned out bad, but you survived them, right? So it's not that big a deal. So just to remind yourself and build that confidence in your ability to make decisions. So I'm curious, you guys that are out there, if you ever find yourself in the what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do situation? Or what is your biggest thing of indecision that pops up for you? Be it large or small. Hey there, everyone's on board now. So if you have any moments of indecision, let it rip. Let's hear what they are, if you want to share. I know for me, some days it's really hard just to get moving. So I maybe have a decision that I'm going to go for a bike ride, but I can't get out the door. And in those situations, you have to just go. You have to just get your butt out the door. And if you want to talk to me personally about some of those, we can go into some of those and strategies. I've worked with people who maybe aren't active and are trying to become active, but that first step is so hard, and how to get them through that first step. There's a saying I really like: you have to let your actions be faster than your fear. If it's something where you're taking a leap of faith, sometimes you just have to do it and not worry about your fear. Again, if you want to do the 10-year test to make sure you're not doing a crazy leap of faith. But most of the times when we have indecisions, like I said, even the best made decision could result in total failure, not on anything you did in the decision making process. Oh, meal selection. There we go. Yeah, that's a tough one. What do I do? So if you're by yourself, what really helps, I know HEB has an actual meal planner that they will, I think it's only $5 a month or something, but they'll give you meals to do every day of the week, and then you can make a shopping list, and it's super easy. So sometimes you can just have someone tell you what to do if you're having trouble coming up with meal ideas. If it's meal selection in a group, that's where it's sometimes helpful to narrow down the choices. Also, something that always happens to us, if you're in a group, well, what do you want to eat? Well, I don't care. What do you want to eat? Well, I want pizza. Oh, I don't want pizza. It's not that the person is being passive aggressive or that they really don't know, but sometimes just limiting those choices helps you to realize that maybe you don't want pizza. Whereas before there were so many options, you wanted it. So that's what I would try for meal selection. Another thing that can be kind of fun if you're just trying to think of new ideas is there's so much stuff online. You can even put in 5 ingredients, 5-minute recipes, right? And see what pops up and just randomly pick it. And then if it turns out really well, you might want to bookmark it for later. But if it doesn't, then you don't have to worry about it, and not much lost. And you probably had something to eat anyway. Another thing, some of these decisions can be rote. There's nothing that says that every day you have to have something brand new and amazing. So if meal selection is stressing you out, it could be like today, Tuesday, for instance, in our household is usually crock pot day, which usually means some kind of soup, stew. If I'm feeling generous, some kind of meat thing that's been in there all day. But that's just what Tuesday is, and then we don't have to think about it. So Friday, usually it might be pizza day or spaghetti. We have spaghetti once a week because it's easy. I know how to do it. It's super simple, and all of us can eat it. And the leftovers are great too. So, automate some of these decisions so then you're not having to make them all the time. Any other big decision problems out there or things you want to share? I think we can wrap this up. Those are some tools to help you make decisions. If you think of any more, put in the comments what you have trouble making decisions about. Um, one thing, a lot of people have trouble making decisions, and even I, who look like I get out there and do everything I want to do every day, no, it's a slog sometimes. So let's be real about that. Um, Automate decisions. If you really are not in touch with what you want, start to get in touch in little insignificant ways and start to learn more about yourself. Practice making little decisions. Write your fear down and see if the outcome is the worst possible outcome. Can you handle that? And is it really that big of a deal? Put time limits, do the 10-year test, and reflect on some decisions that have worked well. And like we just came up with, automate some of the decisions if you feel like you're just too tired to even consider another decision. So that is it for today on decision making. Please reach out if you are having trouble on a more significant decision. As a wellness coach, that's something that we like to focus on, is helping people make changes. And some of those times making changes are hard because of the decision around it. A lot of times you know what you want to do, you're just having trouble giving yourself permission to do it. And there's some exercises we can do one-on-one that really, really let your body tell you what decision you want and really bring it home in a way that is unavoidable. So please reach out if there's something. I know you are, and I appreciate it. Tribro, thank you. And so next week, I'm super excited. Spring break is coming up. In addition to that, people are worried about coronavirus. So we're going to talk sometime next week about how to travel in a healthy way. And also, originally, I was going to focus on just like snacks, good airport snacks, good gas station snacks, how to eat healthy on road trips or in airports or in hotels. So that's going to be the main focus, but we'll also look, if people are still freaking out about the coronavirus, we'll also address some of that as well. So how to be as healthy as you can when you have to travel or on the road. And we might even do a little field demo about how to eat healthy at a gas station. How's that for a challenge? So I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for our next Tuesday tune-up here at noon. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. All right, take care. Bye.